Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Not the 76 O'Clock News, episode 11? Is it? He says. Pretty sure it's 11. Pretty sure it's 11. And I believe this week I am not lying again. No Fallout 76 news that I've seen. Nothing worth talking about. I know they're, getting ready for the Wastelander update, maybe, which may be worth checking out. Probably will check it out. But pretty sure that's it. Hopefully. I'm waiting to see something go by on the chat that says, nope. Wrong. They've done X. Start stopwatch. Thank you, Quadico. So yeah, I've got to change the theme again, I think. I want to change the theme for the podcast. I want the podcast theme to be different to the other theme. I'll get there. I'll get there at some point. You've not heard any news since the hacking. Which one? Oh dear, oh dear. No, of course, the big news today is actually the Cyberpunk announcement, isn't it? That's the actual news. They've tweeted out the following. We have important news regarding Cyberpunk's 2077's release date we'd like to share with you today. Cyberpunk 2077 won't make the April release window, and we're moving the launch date to September the 17th, 2020. We are currently at a state where the game is complete and playable, but there's still work to be done. Night City is massive, full of stories, content, and places to visit. But due to the sheer scale and complexity of it all, we need more time to finish playtesting, fixing, and polishing. We want Cyberpunk 2077 to be our crowning achievement for this generation, and postponing launch will give us the precious months we need to make the game perfect. Expect more regular updates on progress as we get closer to the new release date. We're really looking forward to seeing you in Night City. Thank you for your ongoing support. Marcin Iwinski and Adam Badowski. CD Projekt Red. There you go. So it is in fact postponed. Who was that? A new resub. We'd had C. Dante Modding and Blue Daedric Dragon resubbing. Thank you very much. So, Wolfclaw says, I bet they're delaying it to put in more microtransactions. He's kidding before anyone watching the VOD doesn't realise it. He's kidding. He is trolling. So, there are two ways to look at this. Right, so the rational gamer side of me is saying this is probably good news. They've decided they need a little more time for testing. And if a company feels it needs to test more, it should test more. And are we not waiting for some announcements on the next-gen consoles this year? Aren't we actually sort of getting ready for the 5, PlayStation 5, the PSS, and the Xbox what the hell ever? Is it possible they want those consoles to drop and then release the game? Because that might be... My guess is if they've made this to work on the next-gen consoles... Oh, so it's Christmas. If they've made this game to work on the next-gen consoles, is it going to work on the current gen? How's it going to work on the current gen? I'm not a console gamer, so... not something I really thought about or care about beyond just sort of intellectual curiosity. So the Xbox is called the Xbox Series X, which is the worst name for a console ever. So yeah. So, I mean, if I was making a game that was going to be like defining for this generation of consoles, I'd kind of want the console to be out when I release the game. But, I mean... could you buy this for the Xbox One and then buy it again for Xbox Series X? Because if you could, then you could argue they'd make more money releasing it before the console drops. I don't know. But I'm also thinking, do developers like this get early access to the hardware that will be dropping so that they can test it? And maybe they've got some consoles and they're thinking, ooh, okay, we need to tweak this, but this isn't as good as we thought it was going to be, and maybe we need to scale back on certain things for the Xbox Series X or the. I don't know. I mean, so it has been confirmed that Cyberpunk is for the current gen consoles, but next gen is likely. Okay, so basically they're going to have it for both, and on the next gen it's going to work better. But here's the thing. If I was releasing a game like this, I'd be thinking, are we going to hurt our sales if we release it right now? If we release it right now, there'll be a lot of people who think, oh, I'm going to wait until I get the Xbox X or the and then I'm going to buy it because I want the better experience. Because if so, I kind of get the delay. But if that's the case and the Xbox X and the are going to be released at Christmas, should we expect Cyberpunk to get yet another delay? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe because of the new NVIDIA GPUs. Do you think there's a new GPU out? It's actually all for... You're taking this at face value. CD Projekt Red just want to make sure the game is not buggy. Oh, I believe to some extent that they would like more time. But here's the thing. The game will never be in a state where they're absolutely 100% sure they've got absolutely every single bug. The developers will keep asking for time forever. They will keep asking until like 2022, right? No problem. Psycho Man, thank you for the sub. So they will probably be asking for it. Internally, there'll be some discussion of, hey, you know what? And if we delay a bit, maybe that'll give us the chance to release for the consoles. There's going to be discussion. I mean, I'm not saying this is nefarious. This is just normal, standard business thinking. The developers will always want more time, and they will then be trying to sell this to the marketing and the salespeople and the business people as a potential win. So I'm just wondering if something like that's going on in the background. Plus, if the next gen NVIDIA GPU comes out on the PC, it's going to be a win for them. I don't know. So, yeah. I don't know. I mean, look, here's the thing. I am overall, generally, quite happy with a company delaying a release to get it right. I really am. I've got no problem with that whatsoever. The second way I look at this is a little different. And that's from the point of view of a content creator. You see this one side of me going, hey, this means I might be able to play Red Dead Redemption before Cyberpunk 2077 comes out. Because here's the thing. The Outer Worlds Let's Play is probably going to finish roughly around about March. It's 63 episodes. I'm doing 3 a week. We're looking at about another 10 weeks. Okay? We're looking at about another 10 weeks, which is going to put us firmly into, you know, April. Start of April, right? And if this game was going to come out in April... This is what I would have been waiting for. I would have been waiting for it. So I was wondering how I was going to announce that to everyone. I won't be playing Red Dead Redemption yet. Because of course I've got the Skyrim going on in the background. Chapter 6 is probably going to be late 20s episode wise. So that's probably going to finish around the same time. But there's a little side of me wants to keep the Skyrim playthrough just going non-stop. 2 episodes a week. Just pretty much without much of a break. If I have a break, I only want it to be 3 or 4 weeks. So it'll be a tiny, small game in between, or a splurge of one game like I did with the Outer Worlds. So like Red Dead Redemption 2 was looking really, really tough to stick on in the timetable. But with this frees me, this gives me a good, you know, 5 months to play Red Dead Redemption and get that one going. So, hey, you know, thumbs up for that, right? Because I think Red Dead Redemption is a game I'm going to enjoy. And a lot of people seem to think it's the sort of game that has a pacing that is very much me. However, then there's the downside. We're all expecting, well, we're not expecting, we're all hanging on, waiting for an announcement at the E3 from Bethesda. Is this the year we get Starfield? Are we going to get Starfield on, I don't know, the 20th of October or something like that? Or I'm trying to figure out the 2nd. No, it'd be this, wouldn't it? It would be the, let's have a think, 20. I'm trying to think how you'd get 2020. What American dates go? You do it really, really weirdly, don't you? You do. Okay, so it would be the 20th of something ending in 2, maybe 10. No, you know what? Maybe October, the 10th month, right? 10, 20, 20 or something like that. You know what I mean? Like something weird like that. So there's these hints that Starfield might be announced this year and might get released in their usual window, which would be the latter half of the year. And that's going to really fight with Cyberpunk for my content. Then there's also the side of it. How will that affect something like Starfield? I mean, last time with Fallout 4 and The Witcher, those two games did not go head to head, because they released 6 months apart sort of thing, or 5 months apart. They released in different windows, so you could play both quite easily. This year set to be Cyberpunk, first half of the year, Starfield, second half of the year, for, say, a person like me. Now it's both of them in the second half of the year. That could be a little bit of a battle going on there. And honestly, at the moment, I don't think that's a battle Bethesda wants to have at all. I mean, I wouldn't want to have that if I was Bethesda at the moment. I mean, in 2015, I might have wanted that battle, although, as we saw, they probably would have lost it. So, yeah. You don't think many games are affected by releasing near one another? Not many, but some definitely are. Some definitely are. And if they're huge, big releases, it's going to have some effect. Now, I suspect most people who are waiting to play Cyberpunk are going to play Cyberpunk regardless. And most people who are waiting to play Starfield are going to play Starfield regardless. What we're looking at is the new players, the players who have not really been waiting for these, but when the games hit, the hype machine will go into overdrive and the airwaves will be filled with adverts and reviews for these games, and they will go and buy one for Christmas sort of thing. So yeah. Multiplayer games are more affected by release dates. Well, live services are way more affected by live services that come out at the same time, because live services, unfortunately, do compete with each other massively for the same audience. Cyberpunk and Starfield possibly have different audiences, although again, sci-fi RPGs, there's a bit of crossover there. I'm expecting you're going to see some competition if they are that closely released at the same time. I see it as inevitable. It would be like if Skyrim... I mean, people think that Witcher 2 suffered a little bit coming out around the time of Skyrim. Some people think it was overshadowed by that game a little. So I think, you know, there's especially in the RPG gaming community. I mean, RPGs are a lot more mainstream now, but they're still not quite, you know, your shooters. So I don't know. I'm not saying for sure there'll be a conflict, but it will be interesting. It will be interesting. So, but then we don't know. We do not know. We've got no idea if Starfield is even going to be announced this year. And we don't know whether this launch date of September the 17th is even going to get made. So, you think all of us here would disagree that they're separate audiences? What, for Cyberpunk and Starfield? Almost certainly. I mean, the audience listening to me right now, I would say is 90% on board for both games. Even the people who are currently going, I'm not convinced Starfield's going to be good, are probably still in the camp of, but I'm probably going to buy it anyway, kind of thing, right? There's going to be a few who don't, but I think most people that come to my channel will probably be in the, you know, it's not going to be as good as Cyberpunk, but they'll probably buy it. And they'll probably enjoy it. It's just going to be a question of, did they enjoy it as much as they enjoyed Oblivion and Fallout New Vegas and Skyrim, or did they enjoy it a little bit like they enjoyed Fallout 4? I think that's what's going to be with Starfield. I don't think... I mean, personally, I'm not expecting a Fallout 76 experience with Starfield. I'm not expecting Starfield to arrive and everyone just loses their minds. At the same time, I wouldn't be shocked if that happened. I wouldn't be sat there going, oh my God, I cannot believe it happened. But right now, I'm thinking it's going to be more in the direction of the Fallout 4 feeling of like, okay, it's good. It's kind of better than, it's good, but we wanted a bit more of this or that. That's what I'm expecting. What I'm hoping is they've learned some lessons from Fallout 4 and there are more hints of a flexible sort of playthrough in Starfield than there were in Fallout 4. And by that I mean, I want to start playing Starfield and play one character and do 3 or 4 different things or factions and then want to start a new playthrough and do the next one and just have, the way I played Skyrim. I'm looking for Skyrim in space. I'm not looking for Fallout 4 in space, is what I'm saying. So I'm hoping Starfield will have moved slightly back in the direction of Skyrim. I mean, really, honestly, Skyrim in space. If it's Skyrim in space, I'm going to be happy. If it turns out to be Fallout 76 in space, but single player, then I'm going to be unhappy. But I won't be shocked, is what I'm going to say. Starfield doesn't have Keanu Reeves. I'm not expecting Starfield to go head-to-head with Cyberpunk and win, which is why I'm a little curious if they come out at the same time. It's a new IP. Bethesda, I mean, there's a lot of people got eyes on this new IP, but Bethesda have hurt their public image and their hardcore fan base and even their mediocre, relaxed fan base are all a little jaded right now. If it was the Elder Scrolls 6 going up against Cyberpunk, or Fallout 5, if it was even Fallout 5, an established IP, sci-fi IP like Fallout 5, going up against Cyberpunk, I'd say, ooh, this could be interesting. It's all going to come down to have CD Projekt Red continued with the high quality they had in The Witcher, and has Bethesda managed to course correct and go back in the direction of Skyrim and perhaps even learned a few things from Obsidian? Have they done it? And even then, I'd still put money on Cyberpunk. Of course, I think though all of those ifs, I'm still expecting Skyrim in space. So honestly, Cyberpunk versus Starfield, I'm not thinking Bethesda are going to win that one because it doesn't even have the old IP appeal. So even if it was Fallout 5, an existing IP, and they really did a good job this time, they actually had meaningful dialogue and did a more Obsidian experience, I still think Cyberpunk's going to kick their ass. Just because I've got high expectations from CD Projekt Red, so we'll just have to wait and see. But if it's a new IP like Starfield, that's going to be a tough battle for Bethesda. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'll be buying and playing both games, absolutely, 100%. Just, it's more of a curiosity as to what would happen. Stern Vulgaris BP said, but I really want Morrowind remastered. You might be getting that this year. I mean, don't quote me, and it probably won't be this year. It's probably more like next year or the year after. I don't know. But they really do look really far into this at the moment. They look so far into Skywind, and Skyblivion's looking really far along as well. I'm not going to get my hopes up too much, but, they're releasing dev videos talking about what they've made, and I'm looking at it thinking, this is just, it feels really good. Like, they've really made a lot of progress. it's you always have to realize that they're putting their best face forward and they're showing you a lot of good stuff. But you're just looking at it thinking, oh, I don't know, this is feeling good. So, you know, I'm not saying you're going to get it, but it's just... here's what I will say, because I know a lot of people were predicting, oh, we'll see Elder Scrolls 6 before we see Skywind and Skyblivion. I don't think there's a chance in hell of that. I would say 99% chance now we get Skywind and Skyblivion way before the Elder Scrolls 6. I mean, I'm thinking Elder Scrolls 6 2025. Yeah, I'm thinking 2025. And that's assuming Starfield comes out this year. So, yeah. It would be nice though, wouldn't it? I would so love to play Skywind and Skyblivion. And then we've got all the other projects, like the Capital Wasteland project for Fallout 4 engine and the new Vegas remake. All of these, you still think they'll go for 2102 2021? What, for Elder Scrolls 6? Dude, there's no chance. There's no chance in hell unless they've acquired another studio. Because we know Austin is Fallout 76, Fallout 76, Fallout 76. That's what they're doing. But they're working on Starfield, unless the rumours of Starfield being cancelled are true, in which case I am just going to be stunned and shocked in that case. I really am stunned and shocked. So I think Starfield this year, if we're lucky. Not Starfield. I don't think Test 6 is far enough. Oh, no, you mean Starfield will be out in 2021. Oh, you think it'll be the 21st of February. You think it's going to be 2002-2021 because of the numbers. Yeah, they're American, though, so that would be 0221-2021. Okay, now that might work, actually. Because then you'd get, what, 0221-20211. All right, okay. I'm just, yeah. I can't believe we're all trying to figure out what release date they're going to go for by what might be vaguely symmetrical in the dates. Unless they haven't been telling us the truth about their development schedule. Sunlit Karma. I put it to you that if they were not being truthful about their development schedule, it would be in the opposite direction to this at this point. If Bethesda Game Studios were really far along on the Elder Scrolls and Starfield, considering the water they're in at the moment, I think they might have. Maybe you might be. I suppose you might be right. Maybe they'd be quiet about it. But honestly, we've never really seen them create two games at once. We've never seen that. They always start planning, like pre-planning, while the one game's being polished and finished off, and then they start some of the preliminary work once the previous game's out. And they're still working on the DLC, but they don't go full time on the new game until the last game has had all of its DLC. That's what they've done in the past. I see no reason to expect them to do something different in this particular case. My guess is Starfield comes out, then 6 months later the first Starfield DLC comes out. 6 months after that, the next piece of DLC. If Starfield was really, really, really popular, maybe we'll get one more DLC, maybe even another one after that. But I think they're going for like 2 DLCs at the moment. That seems 2 big DLCs and lots of little small DLCs. I think that's what they're going to go for. And then once they've done it, after 1 year, they'll start really hammering it in on the next game. So that's why I'm saying 2025 earliest. So yeah, I mean, obviously it's a complete guess on my side, but I saw a theory that it might release a related mobile game in October, then Starfield February, March, like Fallout Shelter. Yeah, I mean, there's some evidence to show they are working on a new mobile game, and they have said that they will be releasing a mobile game with every one of their big games from now on. So it makes sense. So yeah, Space Horse Arm. Yeah. I do wonder, will they still keep cracking that joke? Because unfortunately, where it might have once been slightly amusing that they cracked that joke after the Creation Club, not funny. Don't crack that again. In fact, Bethesda needs to stop cracking jokes about its past failures at this point. It used to be slightly endearing. It's gotten annoying. Well, no, I tell you what, no, what it is. It's not that it's annoying. It's just not that funny, and it's certainly not endearing now. Just no. Don't talk about horse armor. Stay away from it. I think here's the general rule. It's okay to joke about your previous mistakes if you've learned from them. It's okay to laugh about the things you did wrong if you no longer do those things. You know? Remember that time I got completely drunk and puked on your mum? You did that 2 days ago, dude. You know, not funny. It's just... I would say overall Bethesda needs to stop cracking jokes until they stop being the butt of everyone's jokes. They don't need to laugh at themselves at the moment. They do not need to ridicule themselves. The rest of the world has got that covered. Horizon Zero Dawn may be coming to PC. Is that the one where you're playing a female hunter with a bow or something and hunting, was it robot dinosaurs or something? Am I remembering that correctly, or did I just dream that because it sounds kind of cool? No, that's the game. That's interesting. Are you asking me, will I play that? Would I do a let's play of that? I'd have to say no, because I don't see us having time. I don't see us having time at all. I mean, I haven't bought Red Dead Redemption yet, but I'm assuming Red Dead Redemption is still one that everyone wants to see me play. And I've got... What else have I got? I mean, for small games, I own a Plague Tale. So that's one of the ones I was thinking of doing a small playthrough, maybe having a break in Skyrim. Although I am reluctant to have a break in Skyrim at the moment because it seems to be my one true popular series. And I do enjoy playing it, but that's why I'm releasing 2 episodes a week now, so I can sort of space it out and always have it running. But yeah, I'm not 100% sure I would have time for that, but let's not rule it out. There's plenty of other games as well. I mean, I'm going to buy Jedi Fallen Order and play it for myself when I feel I've got the time. I've not played the first Red Dead, but you don't have to play it the second. I guess not. I'm hoping not. I don't think I'd be playing God of War or Spider-Man on my channel. So, I mean, God of War is supposed to be a good game, but is it really a good mix for my channel? I mean, I think I've already said from now on I'm going to be trying to stick to very story-driven, maybe horror games occasionally, but mostly RPGs. I think it's just because it seems to work better for my channel. Play for yourself, that's adorable. Ha ha, Quadico. Dark Souls. Is there another Dark Souls game coming out? And I mean, let's face it, Dark Souls is not a game for let's playing. It really is not a let's play match. Streaming, maybe. I streamed it a little for number 2. And did I stream number 3? Did I stream number 3? I can't remember. But it's a bit repetitive. It's a bit of a, you know, it's kind of like Let's Playing Space Invaders in a way. You know, I mean, it might be fun. You might enjoy it. But there's not really a lot to it from a viewer experience. How would you to let's play the Souls game? I mean, it's just again, you after a few minutes you stop talking and just play, and there is no real benefit in watching someone play those sort of games, you know. God of War might be more suited to the live streams. Again, yeah, that's the feeling I'm getting. I even think games like Metro, as good as a game as it is just not a match for my channel and my audience. My audience enjoy watching me play games that are more, I wouldn't say open necessarily, but maybe open, or story-driven, fantasy, that sort of thing, RPG. I may be wrong, but that's the Dark Souls equals story from the inventory. I don't think people are going to, you know, watch me read the inventory. Will Gopher Gaming ever stop playing Skyrim? Yeah. When Test 6 comes out, probably. Oh, it's not that God of War is not story driven. It's just is it an open world game where I can sort of be a bit more free with my own sense of humor and my own storytelling? Because that was the thing with things like Metro. You were telling the story of Artyom, and honestly, it's. I think sometimes you need something a little more open, a little more RPG-ish. So, The Witcher was one of the exceptions where you have a pre-made character, but that is such an incredible game. I think it was a little more. It drew the audience in more with me. So. But, you know, games like Metro get like a third of the views of games like Fallout 4. So say what you like about Fallout 4. People prefer to watch me play Fallout 4 than watch me play Metro, games like that. So, you know, so there's plenty of games that can go onto my play for myself list. You loved the S.T.A.L.K.E.R Let's Plays. Yeah, unfortunately, a lot of people didn't. A lot of the S.T.A.L.K.E.R community did not like my... I think generally they received my Shadow of Chernobyl playthrough well, and were very supportive even of the fact that a total noob decided to play Master Difficulty. There were some comments at the start going, oh my god, why are you playing on Master Difficulty? You don't know anything. But generally speaking, I found that even people who started off quite critical after several episodes, actually, their comments felt very supportive. Like they'd sort of realised that I was taking the game seriously and really getting into it. And as I got into it, I got far more competent. But then with Clear Skies, the game just did not suit my playstyle at all. Well, not my playstyle. It did not suit my approach to games, which is to go in blind. It was one of these games that just... A lot of people were like, no, you're supposed to do this. You're supposed to pick a faction. And I was like, oh, I didn't really know that. And they were like, well, if you'd read all of the material on it, you would have realised this. And I'm like, well... I didn't read any material for Shadow of Chernobyl, and I didn't join a faction either. I stayed very neutral, and the game worked really well for me. So, that's the thing. Call of Pripyat, I don't know if it's more like Shadow of Chernobyl or more like Clear Skies. I've heard it's way better than Clear Skies and is more like Shadow of Chernobyl, so maybe it would suit my playstyle more. But... I got real burnout on Clear Skies because of the comments. I got really... There's only so much negativity you can take before you start to actually hate whatever you're doing. Like, you hate it. You start to just, oh, God, that game again. And it's just because of the people. Because unfortunately you start associating the two. There becomes like an almost like Pavlovian response. You know, they ring a bell and they think food. I see S.T.A.L.K.E.R clear skies and I think, oh God, comments. So, but I haven't ruled out Call of Pripyat as a potential playthrough. And because I've done the previous 2 games, I sort of feel morally obliged to let's play it. But when would I get a chance to do that? What mods would I use? Not Misery. So, did I like Shadow of War? Have we moved on from? There's no more gaming news. We did a bit of modding news with things like Skywind, and then we just got straight on to will you play? And now it's did you like Shadow of War? Quick answer, not really. I mean, it started off good. It started off, goodish. Sort of like Shadow of Mordor, but it just didn't engage me as much, and it got very boring, very repetitive, very quickly. And I had no desire to finish the game at all. None. Just stopped caring about it. Didn't care about the orcs, didn't care about the character, didn't care about the story, found the fighting got boring, which is really weird because Shadow of Mordor was one of those games that I just absolutely loved. I think they got everything right in Shadow of Mordor, and then they just took everything that was right and thought, how the hell can we make this a monetization hell? And what's even more funny, as I said in one of my videos, they didn't even do a good job of monetizing. And by good job, I mean a good job of bad monetization. Because as I said in one of my videos, I don't even feel like the game gave me an incentive to buy the microtransaction loot boxes. Because that's the thing. I kept looking for it. I kept thinking to myself, at some point, the game is going to make me go, oh, maybe I just buy 4 or 5. Just maybe I'll spend $10 or something and just, maybe I can get through this stage a little quicker. But it doesn't actually give you any of those moments because it's grindy as hell, but the loot boxes wouldn't help you avoid the grind. All the loot boxes did was give you orcs, and you had tons of orcs. You had tons and tons of orcs. I always had orcs, loads of orcs. I had the full maximum amount of orcs. Even when I had those free loot boxes, you got not free loot boxes you got in game. I ended up not being able to open them and use them or use the orcs that I had because I had no slot. So to get a slot to fit them in, you had to go off and find one of the enemy orcs and kill it. The problem with that is when you were doing that, it was just as easy to bloody enslave him instead of killing him. And then you didn't need to fill his bloody slot. So you ended up with full ranks of orcs anyway. And people would be saying, oh yes, but you want your legendary orcs. I'm like, I don't need them. I don't need them. And even if I did get the loot boxes to get these legendary orcs, the legendary orcs seem to die as quick as the normal orcs anyway, and I still have to go off and make a space for them. So I still have to go off and do all of the crap I had to do before, free a space up for the new legendary bloody orc, get the legendary bloody orc in there, probably watch him die after the next battle anyway, and it's not saved me any time, frustration, or boredom. So I was like, I don't even understand the nefarious plan. I felt like I was in some parody of an evil plan, like Dr. Evil had made this monetized version of Shadow of Mordor and was like, you know, I shall make them buy loot boxes. Only he forgot the bit where he makes you buy loot boxes. Sort of like, I'm going to destroy the world by giving everyone chocolate. It's like, I'm sorry, what? They just don't. That was it. So yeah, Shadow of War. No, didn't like it. Not really. Which is weird because I loved Shadow of Mordor. It's the whole. Let's face it. The last few years, the whole over monetization thing. It's not just that it got out of control or it got too greedy. It got kind of stupid. Someone in management agreed with me. Shadow of War has no loot boxes now. No, I'm not. Yeah, I heard about that. And I wasn't surprised. Because they probably just didn't sell. But I bet you they had to rebalance it as well to make the game less boring. But not because they removed the... I know some people thought that when it got removed, they go, you see, they're rebalancing it to make it less boring because you can no longer skip the boring with the microtransactions. I think it's more a matter of, no, they removed microtransactions and had to rebalance the boring because the microtransactions weren't selling and it was boring anyway. So, yeah... Todd Howard has said Starfield will have unique gameplay mechanics. Any thought on that? No. I don't even know what that means. Yeah. So, yeah. So yeah, a lot of the monetization tricks that we've been seeing over the years just don't make a lot of sense to me. And I know this is usually where somebody goes, oh my God, what do you mean it doesn't make sense? Can't believe how naive you are. They're doing it because they want to make money. I'm like, no. I understand why they want to put loot boxes in and why they want to put microtransactions in. I don't understand how they thought this particular implementation was going to make them money. Because I did when I made a video saying that the loot boxes just don't seem to actually have any impact on the game and don't, you know, the game is not tweaked to make me want to spend money. People were taking that as a defense of the game. People do that a lot, actually. People take someone disagreeing with something they've said as someone defending something they didn't defend. I see this in all aspects of life, but it's especially rampant in gaming. You know, someone will come out and say something. It's happened a lot with the whole, oh, the Creation Club is going to kill off modding. And I'm like, no, it's not. Oh my God, you're defending the Creation Club. No, I'm not. You're defending Bethesda. No, I'm not. But you said it wasn't going to kill off modding. I'm like, yeah, I'm saying that. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying... Because people are always like, you know, like 2015, modding is dead. The Nexus will be taken down this year, 2015, 2016. It's gone, it's done. And then Nexus is still there, nothing happens. So, you know, and there's always some excuse for that. Ah, yeah, well, you weren't right. It's just you accidentally happened to not be wrong. But yeah. So... I always feel like it's like someone comes out and says, Charles Manson is actually an underpants gnome from South Park. And I go, no, he's not. There's no such thing as underpants gnome. And the person goes, oh my God, you're defending Charlie Manson. I can't believe Gopher supports serial killers. It's like, what? And that's the sort of conversation I end up having in the comments of my videos all the time. How the hell did I get here? Yeah, no, didn't like Shadow of War in the end. Kind of started liking it, was kind of enjoying it, up until a point where I just went, God, I'm bored now. Quantico says, wait, what's Gopher talking about? I got stuck on chocolate. Yeah. I'm reading the chat and the questions have just gone completely off the rails right now. You can tell there's not been a lot of news recently, can't you? There was a new Doom trailer. Yeah, it looked like Doom. Which is good. Which is good. Now that is good. Don't take that as mocking. I'm one of these people who's all for more of the same. I'm one of these people who said after Fallout New Vegas, Bethesda could have released Fallout 4 on the exact same bloody engine with more content, and I would have bought it and been happy. I would have played Fallout New Vegas 2 in a heartbeat. I would have played Skyrim too. I know everyone cracks jokes about that. I'm one of these people, more of the same. If I'm happy with something, more of the same, thank you very much. I'm not one of these people who requires everything to change every like 10 or 15 minutes. So, Doom, it looks like the same game. I mean, I'm sure there are some tweaks and improvements here and there, but honestly, if it's just like 2016 Doom, run around and murderalize absolutely everything in non-stop gory glory, I'm gonna be happy. So, yeah. Gopher is one of them people who's one of them people. I am not sure what that means. Did they give the Doom guy a voice? I didn't think so. I didn't actually think so. I know there was a narrator or something, like he was supposed to be one of the bad guys, and they asked him a question and his response was to chamber a shot on a shotgun or something. It was like you just pumped the shotgun. Did he actually speak? Did he speak? I don't think he speaks. The Doomslayer can't speak. He grunts. He grunts and he destroys things. So, you know, it's one of the brilliant things in Doom 2016, really, wasn't it? The Doomslayer, he wasn't trying to be cool. He was just like, whatever. Let's get... The odd comic says otherwise. I have no idea what that means. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to be one of these people. If the Doomslayer actually has the odd line in the next Doom game, you know, like someone says something to him and he goes, yeah, I'll kill it, or something like that, I'm probably not going to be one of those people that freaks out. I'm not going to be one of those people who's like, you've ruined my childhood. Although in my case it would be, you've ruined my young adulthood. But, you know, at the same time, I'll be a little, just a tad disappointed, just go like a little. I want the Doomslayer to grunt. I won't be as absolutely horrified as I was at a voice protagonist in Fallout 4. Or the fact that Ron Perlman didn't get to do the War Never Changes line. That was deeply offensive. And worthy of outrage. And I'm only being slightly sarcastic when I say that. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I know people look at games and always like to sort of get a bit nervous about recent changes. And Wolfenstein, the New Colossus, it wasn't as good as the New Order. And it wasn't... And a lot of it was because I felt like they really did go a little too much on the story side. And I don't know why. Maybe some of the initial appeal in Wolfenstein had worn off a little. I'm not 100% sure what it was. I didn't enjoy the New Colossus as much as the New Order. True, I still enjoyed it. I did still enjoy it. But I think with Doom, the thing is, what makes Doom so absolutely amazing is the combat and the levels. As long as they don't screw that up, there's not a lot else. Wolfenstein, I think, was a little bit of an odd one, because Wolfenstein was very much, the original game was very much about the combat. But with the New Order, they made a game that was actually reasonably good in the story department and had interesting characters and actually quite entertaining dialogue. They outdid themselves by adding a lot of things that I wasn't expecting to the Wolfenstein series, and it complemented the core gameplay loop of Wolfenstein, which was to kill Nazis. And that's the Wolfenstein gameplay loop. Kill Nazis, kill Nazis, kill Nazis some more. That's the loop. And they just added a few things on top of it, like icing, and it worked really well. I think in the New Colossus, I felt like they'd gotten so much praise for the story and for the characters and for the cutscenes, they thought, oh, this must be what everyone wants. And that's reasonable. It's a reasonable thing to take away from it, but actually I think it was misreading it. I think they need to go back. I don't know what the next Wolfenstein, the next single-player Wolfenstein, not Youngblood, but the next single-player Wolfenstein, I don't know what the future holds for it, if there is even going to be one. But I think what they need to do is dial back on the cutscenes a little, and the just some of the overacting. Just dial it back a little to more like Wolfenstein New Order levels, and focus on the combat and the level design that they had in New Order. Doom, on the other hand, just repeat Doom 2016. That's all they need to do. And I think the thing with Doom 2016, all of the reviews loved it because the Doomslayer didn't say much, didn't have any character development, and it was just combat. And if you read any of the reviews, it was all, yes, it's non-stop, high-octane, in-your-face, fluid combat from beginning to end. The Doomslayer is back, and he's got nothing else to do but murder demons, right? So I'm hoping that id Software heard that and thought, well, that's what we want to do, more of that, because that was all the praise. Wolfenstein got praise for some of its other things as well, which I think might have taken it in the wrong direction. It is interesting when you look at how games develop, in a franchise, and you can see that the developers have taken it in a direction based upon what the community are demanding. And sometimes you worry that the community's demands... I mean, I believe this is something that happened in Fallout 4, very much so. The community demanded a much more stable engine that performs better, doesn't crash as much, and they got that. It's very obvious that they spent a lot of time making it the most stable engine they'd had up to date. I mean, Fallout 4 for most people was way more stable, performed better than any of their previous games by a wide margin. And there were still problems there, but it was way better. They'd obviously focused on that. They'd obviously focused on the whole... you need more cinematic, engaging conversations. And unfortunately, they'd taken that to mean like Mass Effect, or we want a Mass Effect style story, because it felt like that's what they were going for. It felt like they were going for the sort of dialogue experience you got in Dragon Age or in Mass Effect. Whereas you compare it to a game like Outer Worlds, and Outer Worlds rightfully said, no, the direction we're going to go with the dialogue is exactly the direction we were in for New Vegas and, that sort of game. So I think Fallout 4 is an example of where a developer is listening to a lot of the complaints. They're just unfortunately listening to the wrong complaints and prioritizing them over several other things. And often the things they prioritize them over are the things that no one's complaining about. Nobody... every now and again you'd hear someone go, oh, it's about time the Elder Scrolls got... or Fallout or the Elder Scrolls got a voice protagonist, right? You hear that complaint every now and again. What you don't hear are the millions of fans who, if asked, would go, hell no. Because it never occurs to them to say it. Nobody ever came out and went, do you know what I love about Fallout New Vegas and Skyrim? The protagonist has no voice. I love that about that game. They don't say it until a company comes along and says, oh, we've added voice protagonists to this game that never had one. And the community go, what? So this is, and I guess what I'm saying is I don't think they're going to ruin Doom, because I don't think any of the praise they got for the last Doom will lead them astray. And I don't think there were any complaints to lead them astray either. I think that's what I'm saying. I'm going around in circles, but what I'm trying to say is Doom Eternal looks like it's going to be more Doom, and I see no reason why they would have tried anything else. It was a formula that won them a lot of applause, a lot of praise, and more of the same will be much appreciated. What if Doom Guy gets a voice actor and multiple RPG choices? And romance options. You forgot to add in romance options. Oh, that would be awesome. That would be awesome. Somebody needs to make that mod. Somebody needs to make that mod. I would almost love to see ID release Doom only with like romance options, just to watch the internet melt down. just to watch it melt down. The Doomslayer romancing a king of hell or something. I don't know. Just yes. Somebody at id Software, make that a secret level. just a DLC. A Valentine's Day DLC. Doomslayer schmoozes. What are the eyes called? The flying eyes. That's what I want to see. And on that exceptionally serious note, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to call it. It is time. So, thank you very much for joining me for part 11, pretty sure it's part 11, of my podcast series, where we really have not talked about the news very much because there wasn't actually that much news beyond Cyberpunk, but we talked about pretty much everything else, including romancing demons. So I'd say that was pretty much covering everything. So I'll see you next week. Good night, and thank you for joining me.